You're watching 48 Fastcast.
All right, y'all, welcome into the 48 Fastcast. We are, of course, focusing on news and traffic, but the big story is weather this weekend.
Yeah, everyone looking ahead to what's happening this weekend. Definitely a lot of changes have happened in this forecast recently.
Yeah, a lot of times when you're forecasting a winter storm like this, there's going to be some ups and downs. It's going to take some changes, especially when you start forecasting it a week in advance. You know, I think a lot of times it takes a little while to iron that forecast out. I feel like we got a good grip on it now. But first off, we got to get you out the door, and we got some showers, and this is a rainy commute for many of you this morning. Some areas of fog not making it any better. Dreary day out there after some rain yesterday and last night. And with the ground being so wet, that's making it so we have some fog too. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and you got some fog in Pulaski. And now for areas mainly east in Scottsboro, if you're in Section or Langston, Fort Payne, and then down into Albertville, a little foggy to start the day. So a morning commute impact today, but obviously much more of an impact as we go into the weekend with a storm system eyeing up the area. There's a larger look at the radar. Zoom it back a little bit. Rain all the way from Atlanta to Beeham and then right through the Tennessee Valley. The rain should shut down here by noon. In the afternoon should be just cloudy and therefore around 50, and not a bad day today while we prep for what's going to happen this weekend. And though there is much more rain in the forecast now than there was in the beginning of the week, there's still going to be times when it could be slick. And it's not so much Friday during the day, but Friday night and Saturday morning with that combination of freezing rain and sleet, that could make for some slick roads. And though it may change over to rain for a good chunk of Saturday night and Sunday morning, on the back edge of this thing with colder temperatures diving in, we turn back, or we revolt back to a little bit of sleet and freezing rain. And with frigid temperatures plunging in Sunday night, all those wet roads will become icy Sunday night and stay that way into Monday morning. Gina?
This is your 48 First Alert Road Report, sponsored by Bankston Motorhomes.
All right, taking over here to traffic right now, 565. It's looking like we're having our slowdown that we typically see in the morning. This just ahead of Wall Triana Highway there. So just be aware of that if you're heading out this morning, trying to go towards the Huntsville area, potentially from Madison. And we're also seeing a little bit of slowdown going into Decatur on the bridge right now. So just be aware of that. If you're driving to Huntsville, though, from Decatur, your drive times look good, about 22 minutes right now. Gina.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Right now, Huntsville utilities leaders are preparing for the possibility of ice and freezing rain. It doesn't take much ice before power lines become damaged. Ice can also lead to crashes and other issues. Joe Gertis with Huntsville Utilities says there will be plenty of crews on standby to respond to any outages if they do happen. He adds his crews prepare all year long for winter weather events. He wants people to know they will work to restore power as soon as possible if it does go out. Alabama power crews are also getting ready for the cold and wet weather. Thousands of additional crews from surrounding states are expected to arrive in Alabama tomorrow. If there are outages, crews will start repairs that impact the most people. Corey Sweeney with Alabama Power says restoring power can be a lot more dangerous than some may realize.
You know, being able to get to where the damage is at to make the repair, and then once you arrive at the location, ice on the ground, being able to walk back and forth and make the repairs. Also trees, you know, ice when it comes in and gets on the trees and the tree limbs start to sag in, you know, it's a dangerous situation. The limbs could break out.
Now you're asked to report outages online or by phone if your power goes out this weekend.
Well, Madison County leaders are gearing up, of course, for this weekend's potential winter weather. While they feel confident, though, in their readiness to potentially handle any snow that might come down, their primary concern, though, are managing icy conditions. Huntsville Public Works Director Chris McNeese says that they're going to focus on addressing those elevated roadways and bridges. He also says while ice on power lines can, of course, cause outages, the real issue is ice accumulating on tree limbs that hang over the lines. We're on your side this morning, also showing you more about what they're doing to prepare this weekend here in Madison County. Emergency responders like HIMSI will have an increased amount of paramedics on hand this weekend. Huntsville hospital leaders are also working with local groups to make sure there are enough nurses available. Madison County Commission Chairman Mac McCutcheon says that each district is prepared to clear roads if needed.
We'll just have to be watching the weather, but at least we've got more equipment now and more product now than we had, so we can get it out quicker if we have that window of opportunity to get out there.
Now, he also says each brine machine that the county currently has can produce 6,000 gallons of it an hour.
Seth Burkett with AlDOT says he's looking for a narrow window to pre-treat routes before the storm. However, incoming rain could make salt brine ineffective. Now, if they don't get an opportunity to pre-treat the roads, they'll focus on bridges, which requires less time. Madison Police Chief John Gandy says they will be also placing barricades on some dangerous roads. One of the areas that may get some impacts is Waterloo. That's why the local fire department is already preparing. Waterloo Fire Chief says his department is putting chains on their truck wheels for traction. They've also started stocking up on fuel. Now, they're no stranger to bad weather there. The chief tells us about the winter storm in 1995 when people were without power for 3 weeks. He says these early preps are aimed at saving lives.
With the icing, the response time gets added where normally it may be a 10-minute response or a 5-minute response. That can be 20 minutes. And then that could be an issue with somebody having a heart attack, and especially with somebody having a heart attack or some type of medical problem.
He recommends bringing a winter kit if you do have to travel on these roads. That kit should include things like blankets, snacks, ice scrapers, and a shovel.
Yeah, and this morning people are stocking up on things like propane tanks. In fact, one Scottsboro supply store just sold 1,400 gallons of propane in less than 10 hours. Brittany Green, who works at Green's Building Supply, says there have been a surge in customers over the past few days. The store only had about 600 gallons of propane remaining when she and her coworkers left on Tuesday, and they were out of propane by 8 a.m. the next morning.
We've already had to call the propane company. They have already came and filled us back up. They gave us 800 gallons, everything they had left, and we're almost back down to nothing.
Now, the store has ordered some more propane, so if you're in Scottsboro and you need some, you can head there. Well, state troopers are asking you to be aware of the potential for black ice as well. Ice on the roads can often be hard to see, which leads to unexpected crashes. Now, there are some ways to minimize your risk if you have to travel. They say slow down and keep your distance on wet, icy, or slick roads. Be careful when driving on overpasses and bridges because those areas can often freeze before other roads. And you also want to make sure your headlights are on.
Some schools in our area have already started to announce early dismissals. Lawrence County, Tennessee students will be dismissed at 1:15 on Friday. Giles County students will be let out at noon. All afternoon activities for both districts are also canceled that day. Florence City leaders, meanwhile, want you to make sure you are staying safe this weekend. They recommend getting supplies now and avoiding unnecessary travel if ice begins to form. You can check the very latest forecast by visiting the Florence EMA Facebook page. Of course, you can also tune into 48, visit our website, WAFF.com, and use our 48 First Alert weather app. Warming centers across our area are starting to open up. Those include First Stop in Huntsville, the Salvation Army in both Decatur and Florence, and the Albertville Library. These are just a few of them. You can find a full list of the warming centers on our website, WAFF.com.
And a reminder, there will be daily briefings every morning and afternoon about the latest on these road conditions. You'll be able to watch those streams live on our website, WAFF.com. Also, another reminder, it's a great time now to download the 48 First Alert weather app. That's where you can find all your latest for weather alerts, forecasts right there at your fingertips, and it is free on the app stores.
Tomorrow is a 48 First Alert Weather Day, sponsored by Mr. Reuter Plumbing for all your emergency plumbing services.
Yeah, that 48 app, that weather app is really useful. It's not just when you're looking at the forecast, but you could actually set it to look in advance of the future radar. You can go past radar. You can see what's coming down the road with a 3-day forecast, a 10-day forecast, an hourly forecast. We provide it all for you. Travel impact, rain this morning, a few showers. It's out there, foggy, not the best morning commute. But obviously, we know the weekend, there could be other issues, and it's not just rain, as we had winter storm Friday night through Sunday evening. And remember, a winter storm is a storm that's in the winter, so it can still produce heavy rainfall and still have an impact with icy conditions, because when the frigid temperatures arrive Sunday afternoon and Sunday night, it is game on with how much is going to freeze up out there. So a little slick Saturday morning, and then you get a lot of rain into Saturday afternoon, night, and morning Sunday, and then the temperatures crash, 35 down to about teens in the evening. Anything that is wet Sunday afternoon will ice up, and it will be very slick Sunday night into Monday morning. We'll take a look at just how cold those temperatures will be in your 10-day coming up. You're watching the Fastcast. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow is a 48 First Alert Weather Day, sponsored by Mr. Rooter Plumbing for all your emergency plumbing services.
All right, y'all, your time right now, 7:11. Thanks for joining us for our special edition of our 48 Fastcast. Kind of weather focused here. Obviously, our meteorologists have been hard at work for a week now tracking this winter storm. It is moving our way. Track has changed a little bit, but we are still going to see some pretty significant impacts this weekend.
I mean, you all have been doing a great job. I know it's stressful trying to manage all these changes that are happening.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I worked last weekend and all the forecast models at that time had us 50 and heavy rain. So I just said, hey, heavy rain. Yeah. And then ironically, it's worked back to that after it detoured to a more wintry prep on Monday and Tuesday. So that's what the forecast models do. It's not that it's a matter of being right or wrong. It's a matter of our job deciphering which forecast model is drinking the Kool-Aid correctly and which one's not. And that's what we try to do here for you. And that's when we start to put together a forecast. It's usually not just one model. It's like a blend of all of them coming together that gives you an accurate forecast. Some rain out there this morning. That's an easy one to predict because it's happening. Fort Payne, Albertville, down to Coleman, Hartselle, Vinemont, Moulton, Double Springs, Russellville. Driving around Smith Lake right now. A few showers and it's foggy too. Not the most glamorous start to the day. Certainly gloomy. And it will stay cloudy into the afternoon, though the faucet will shut off and it will stop raining. Your temperatures around 50 with a lack of sunshine will feel cooler and it'll feel like the 40s without abundant sunshine. Let's fast forward to the storm for the weekend. 48 First Alert Weather Days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Friday's not bad. Friday during the day, you're good. Run some errands, you're okay. Friday night into Saturday, that's a concern. So I'm going to be on air with you like, what time do we start? 5 o'clock on Saturday? I'll be tracking some precipitation, some sleet, some freezing rain. And I want to let everyone know that when the initial burst of precipitation comes in on Saturday, it is cold enough where it's not raining. It's freezing rain and sleet, and it will be slick in the morning. But give it some time, and then throughout the day when the temperatures start to rise, that track with that low pressure more north allows just enough warm air to move in that we flop over to rainfall. And then it's just rain for the most part. Rain as we go into the afternoon, the night, into the morning on Sunday. And some of that rainfall is going to come down heavy. I call it gully washer, like 1 to 2 to 3 inches of rain. Think about if it was all snow. Like, oh my gosh, we'd be looking at like 2 feet of snow. It's crazy, but we're not. It's just rain. And the rain will move on out. And here's probably the highest concern of the whole entire weekend. When the precipitation starts to wind down during the day Sunday, it changes back to freezing rain, sleet, and even a little snow. But the most important part about the forecast is whatever's wet. Your trees are wet, your roads are wet, your cars are wet, and then the temperatures nosedive into the teens. You go out to your car and see what happens to it after all that water freezes up on top of it, right? It's gonna be hard to get your key in. Well, a lot of people don't have keys anymore, but my point is that's the night that's gonna get very slick, and those slick roads with a low of 14 will stick around for the Monday morning commute. The toughest commute out of this entire thing might be Monday morning, and that's because that's when we could have the most slick roads across the area, and that's when we could be looking at the prolonged period of some dicey travel across the area. You think of the storm, we have all those 48 First Alert Weather Days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but it could be that Monday morning commute that ends up being the slowest one. It's kind of crazy.
The thing that we have to look out for the most, I guess.
Yeah, the colder temperatures may end up being the bigger part of the storm on the tail end of it, and how it impacts the area than the actual precipitation does.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jeff, for your hard work tracking this storm, giving us all the details. We will, of course, be giving you more throughout the morning and throughout the day, so keep it locked in on 48. Have a good one.